Let's go to 1981, An American Werewolf in London. Summary for this film: two American college students on a walking tour of Britain are attacked by a werewolf that none of the locals will admit exists. Written and directed by John Landis, who everybody should know. He did Kentucky Fried Movie, Animal House, Blues Brothers, Trading Places, not Trading Spaces, Spies Like Us, Three Amigos, and much, much, much more. This movie is available all over the place. I believe I rented it from Amazon. Um, the trivia on this film is so dense that if you really want to know some additional fun
Yeah, there's a lot.
facts, go ahead and do your own research because it's so dense that I couldn't even pull highlights really. The whole premise of this movie, I would never find myself in. So maybe that's why I never really found it that scary because I would, first of all, never be backpacking anywhere in Europe. It's just not my style. Um, so right out of the box,
I've seen Hostel.
just my anxiety, my intense anxiety would prevent me from even crossing the ocean, or going out of state. Really, I'm not leaving Ohio unless I go see John. So,
There you go.
but yeah, I would have been like, nope, I'm not fucking doing that. But if for some reason my friends had convinced me to go, I would have died right away because of my anxiety. Because we would have got to this slaughtered lamb pub that has a sign of a wolf attacking a sheep, I believe, or something bloody
The
on the
severed
sign.
wolf head on a
Uh,
pike.
I would have been like, we don't really need to go into this aggressive looking place. But if I would have got through that door, the immediate awkwardness would have made me fucking immediately go outside and get killed by a werewolf. So like I wouldn't have hung out with all the fun crew in there, but even if I had got past that awkward stage immediately, whenever my friend points out the sigil on the wall, I'm like, fuck you, dude. I'm leaving. It was starting to get comfortable. The guy was telling a story, and then you fucking point out their weird witchcraft shit. I'm gone. I'm gone. They could have stayed there and just chilled out and been like, having their tea, whatever, play some darts. Uh,
We're having jokes and you fuck it up.
yeah.
Do some
But
bar shit.
yeah, I think that the police officers in this movie are some of the worst detectives ever. Um, because the scene of the crime essentially is there's a dead man who looks like he's been mauled by a fucking werewolf, and then a naked guy that's completely unarmed who has been shot by locals. Um, I don't care how fucking crazy you are. If you do not have a weapon, you cannot tear into a man like that as another human man. I mean, it's just you would have looked into it a little bit more. I don't understand why the locals don't want anyone to know there's werewolves. That seems like some shit that you'd be like telling people right out the gate as soon as they walk into your pub. Hey, listen, we're gonna
By the
let you
way,
know
werewolves.
there are werewolves around here, and then you'd laugh it off, and they'd be like, no, seriously, fucking werewolves out there. um, there's a point where they keep checking in with this kid in this hospital, these kids in this hospital and stuff. And there's this one kid, and it stood out like a sore thumb to me. This is another little thing that bothered me. He's reading a Laurel and Hardy comic, and at first I was like, "What the fuck? Why would a kid in 1981 be looking at a Laurel and Hardy comic, which essentially comes from the days of the talkies back? My grandpa was huge on that shit. But this 7 or 8 year old kid reading this shit, and I looked it up. I went a deep dive on this. That shit came out in 1980, so it would have made sense that he was reading it because it would have been some shit that popped up on the fucking newsstand. And I guess what happened was, this is the story on it. Bozo the Clown, Larry Harmon, had that cartoon on his TV show, and kids in the 80s in the late 70s loved that shit, and then they did a comic book spinoff. So that's like,
Ah.
I don't know.
Nice.
I had to mention it because I did all that work for no reason. Um, the nurse character seemed really familiar to me, so I looked her up. Her name is Jenny Agutter, or That has to be how you say it.
I say Agutter.
Agutter.
I say Jenny Agutter. Yeah.
And I was like, where did I see her from? And then I saw she was the female lead in Child's Play 2. So that was like, yeah, I remember. I looked at the photos. She's in Logan's Run, which I've never seen, but I knew I had seen reference to her in that. But the thing I know her from is a show my wife watches called Call the Midwife. She's like one of the main nuns on that show. Yeah.
Cool.
I love the dream sequences in this movie. I think it's really cool effects, really fun, schlocky gore segments. Some of the masks are bad, but they're fun. It's just like science fiction. There's the Muppets are thrown in there. There's a lot of machine gun fire. It's just crazy. And when Jack keeps coming back, and he keeps coming back, he's mauled, and he keeps coming back looking shittier and more rotten. And I love all those sequences. And I think that if they would have taken these two characters, like these just these two actors, and put them in like a buddy comedy or something like a TV show, I would have watched it. They had really good chemistry together. The fucking scene that made me laugh out loud is when they're in the subway and there's like, it's just wall to wall punks. I was like, I could not imagine. I could not imagine like how this dude was doing so well with this girl. I don't know. Like that would have been a rough situation to be doing goofy shit in. I would have been real nervous. You know, of course, my anxiety and all that. But
not to mention the anxiety.
Yeah, I mean, it would be hard to
on top of all of that.
To be trying to goof around with a girl while you're surrounded by just wall-to-wall crust punks. Did anybody notice that Rick Mayall, how do you say his name? From Rick, The Young Ones?
Mayall, I think.
Drop Dead Fred. He was in the pub playing chess. I don't think he had any lines, but I was like, that's fucking Drop Dead Fred right there.
I had to pause it and look.
Yeah. I don't know why anybody in this area doesn't want people to know there's werewolves. That's the only flaw I see. But another thing I thought was weird about this movie is that all the songs have the word moon in them. Like it really is a hat on top of a hat. It's very strange.
That's some John Landis. John Landis shit.
I love the transformation. Of course, it's legendary.
That's a memorable scene.
It's one of the most.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
It's funny because it is very painful. He does portray it as being a very painful, and it looks painful.
Yeah, he did a good job showing that.
My wife was over in the room, and she was playing a gem collecting game on her phone, and all this screaming's happening. And she's like, is he gonna be all right? And I was like, well, he is turning into a werewolf. And she's like, is it painful? And I'm like, well, check it out. It's like when his fingers are getting all long. It did look very painful. Yeah. I think this movie has one of the best lines of dialogue in any film. A naked American man stole my balloons. I love that. I really noticed while watching this that werewolves are a lot like alcoholics. Like they have absolutely no control of their monstrous capacity, and they are constantly waking up in strange places and not remembering anything. Yeah. Another person I noticed in the cast was Sidney Bromley. Did anyone notice him? He played the character Alf, and he was in Neverending Story. He played Ingy Wook, the weird little old guy that gives him the potion.
Oh my god!
Yeah,
I'm sorry. That's one of my favorite movies from when I was a kid. I still love that movie. And holy shit.
When I saw him, I was like, that guy looks just like that dude from Neverending Story. And I'll be damned if he wasn't.
Wow. That's so cool. I didn't even think of that.
One of the coolest things about this movie is the "See you next Wednesday" phrase. It's the name of the porno film in this movie, but John Landis has used it one way or another in every single movie he's done. Like it's either on a movie poster somewhere, or it's like an Easter egg. It'll show up, or it's said by a character offhandedly. And it came from 2001: A Space Odyssey. It's like the final line of the video letter from Frank Poole's parents. His father says it, and evidently John Landis just liked it enough, and he used it everywhere. I mean, if you
Nice.
every movie you watch, just try to, if it's a John Landis film, just keep an eye out for that because it's a cool detail. This is probably this is definitely one of the strongest werewolf movies. It's not my favorite. I generally like the bipedal werewolves instead of the more wolf-like ones. Like I want them to walk around like a dude. So like my favorite's Dog Soldiers. I like that one a lot.
That movie's great.
But this is right up there with all the rest of them. I mean, I don't know which one I would say is better. I like Ginger Snaps a lot. I like Silver Bullet. But this one's right up in the top 5, I'd say. 8 out of 10. I love that they throw the Silver Bullet shit right out the window too. That's really cool. But John?
Yeah, so I've been a fan of this one since I was a kid as well. I don't remember how old I was when I saw it. I mean, it's a legendary horror film. It's pioneering special effects in this. The Howling did like more elaborate face stuff, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But this is the archetype for advanced special effects. Like, because there was Werewolf in London and then The Howling came out after, right? I'm pretty sure that's the timeline. This is probably the best of the werewolf movies in my opinion. This is the one I'll watch. Like, obviously Lon Chaney Wolfman. I love that movie, but this like outdoes it. You know what I mean? It's like Wolfman times 1,000. It adds so much more to it. And the fact that they showed all of his bones stretching out and everything, like that is definitely a painful situation.
That Greg Nicotero that did that?
No, Rick Baker.
Okay. And who did the Howling?
Rob Bottin.
I think I remember hearing this. These did come out really close together, and what I heard was maybe Rick Baker gave him the other job because they both wanted him at the same time.
I feel like that's sort of right. I want to say that Rob Bottin was a student or a good friend or something like that. I think I heard
Rick Baker talk about that on Dana Gould's podcast because they're really good friends. But yeah. Interesting shit. It's cool to see people help each other out like that.
Oh yeah, for sure. I love Jenny Agutter. I had the biggest crush on her from this movie. Like, holy crap! Oh, she's like an all-time hottie in the movie hottie, man. She's really good.
It was so funny. Like what was it that she found? Well, did she just like instantly fall in love with this dude, kind of? Because that's what it seemed like.
Apparently,
like maybe she felt bad for him losing his friend or whatever, or no one believing him. I don't know. It was just she was all over him like immediately.
Oh yeah, and that was so awesome. I love all the acting in this movie. David Naughton was funny. Like he played his part really well. But I really liked Griffin Dunne as Jack.
Oh yeah, he's great.
And you mentioned it, the decaying special effects, and at the end, at the very end, he's just a puppet. He's just
and that scene skull. When they're all telling him he has to kill himself. That is such a great scene. Like, no, you just kill yourself, scene. Man. You have to do it. You have to like everybody he's murdered. That is some
They're just giving ways. And you know what else I love? That happy couple is still happy even all mangled. Cause remember they were all like,
Yeah,
"Oh, you're so lovely, I love you," you know. And they go into their buddy's house, and then they get fucking torn up. Like, I love that they're still all all fucked up smiles in the theater still. Oh my god, it's so funny. It just does such a great scene. The dude that got killed in the subway, he was in Return of the Jedi. He was the white dude in Jabba's palace. His name was Bib Fortuna,
really?
but they never say his name. He's like his prime minister, if you will.
Yeah, he looks
his number 2.
I don't know what he is, but he kind of looks like a Twi'lek or whatever. He's got.
That's what I think too. I think that's what he is too.
Yeah.
But that was just a little bit of nerd trivia there. That I like that they base it in quote unquote reality because they reference the Wolfman.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so it's like meta. You know, before there was meta.
Yeah.
Let me see. Yeah, I love the little kid, a naked American man stole my balloons. That's such a great line. That whole sequence of him running around, I'm the famous balloon thief.
Yeah.
Why would a balloon thief want to give me £2? Like that whole exchange.
Yeah. I think that he lost some sort of advertising job because he's running around with his dick flopping around in this movie. I think that he lost some commercial campaign he was working on. I can't remember what it was, but check that IMDb trivia if you want. It's 14 pages long.
In the very last scene of the carnage in the streets of Piccadilly Circus is pretty awesome too. John Landis is one of the people. He gets hit by the car and goes through the plate glass window.
Mm-hmm.
It's real quick. It's like a blink and you miss it type deal because his face is real quick in there.
Have you ever seen his first movie Schlock, where he is that
the one with the ape?
Yeah, it was something called the Banana Monster too. That's John Landis in that ape costume through the whole movie.
Oh, okay.
So that's how much he loves shit like this. I love finding. He's such a nerd about everything. So.
Oh yeah, totally. I met him before. He's total nerd. Super energetic dude though. Super energetic. All the energy you could want. Oh yeah. Yeah, this is like in the upper echelons of horror history. So this is definitely a 10 for me.
Right on. Jay?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go with a 9 out of 10 on this one. I mean, so I'm not really a hardcore werewolf genre as far as like horror, but when I think of that genre, I mean, this is a movie that I've seen growing up, and in that one that I think about whenever I think about the genre. The acting, then you have the one scene that pretty much from like his transformation and how he portrayed it. I think he did a really good job as far as acting goes. As far as like the script, I looked this up. So the investors who were going to finance the movie, they actually thought that the script was too frightening for comedy, but too humorous for horror. So that was kind of interesting because you do have some lines in the movie that you have some humor in there. But
well, they had problems by some of the theaters were promoting it. The maker of Animal House, you put that, people go in, they're like, all right, it's from the guy that did Animal House. We love that fun movie. And then they see what happens. And then immediately there's a how long is it into it before that guy gets ripped up? Yeah. But
yeah,
but
that's awesome.
Yeah, but they like pioneered in that, like the special effects and the theatrics. I mean, yeah, I enjoyed it.
Yeah, it's hard to do a werewolf movie. Like it either is going to be awesome or really bad. That from my experience. There's only a handful of really good ones out there.
And there are a lot of movies.
This is one of them.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll go over the scores that we gave the movies, and you can hit us with yours.
Yeah, I'll give you some scores.
American Werewolf in London, 1981. I gave it an 8 out of 10. John gave it a 10 out of
Oh.
10, and Jay, our guest, gave it a 9 out of 10. So
yeah, it's a 10. There's again, it's probably kind of the same thing we just said about Dawn of the Dead. It's one of the earliest horrors that I saw. It's one of the first ones that I saw. So there's a lot of nostalgic factor to it. The transformation scene, just everything, like the little pub, the slaughtered lamb, like it's just a good movie all around. Just not even talking about a horror movie. Like my wife's not a fan of horror, but this is. If I ask her what do you want to watch and we really don't have anything, this is her go-to. So,
wow.
I mean that says a lot. That a non-horror fan, likes the movie as well. So yeah, that's a 10 as well.
So you guys are John Landis super fans, I'm guessing?
I like a lot of John Landis stuff.
I like a lot of this stuff. Yeah.
It's hard not to. I mean, holy shit, he's done a lot of great stuff, man. He should be very proud of the things he's done.
Oh yeah, he's had a hell of a career.